guys, what's up? Today I'm bringing you a 94-8 domination on Strike Zone, and this is the most kills I've gotten so far in Ghosts. And even though I didn't get a chem strike, I did get one from a field order, which isn't as nearly as rewarding, but whatever. Anyways, today I wanted to talk about a couple of things. When you go and make a class, you'll notice that there are a lot of perks, for a total of 35 perks in 7 different categories. And people may not know what to use, so I'm going to be doing a perk breakdown of all the perks and tell you guys which ones are good and worth it, and which ones are just flat out unnecessary and you shouldn't waste your points on. And keep in mind, a lot of these perks are situational, obviously, but there are some that are much better than others and give you an advantage in most situations. I also recommend not using a secondary weapon so you get another point to use on perks, and even giving up your lethal and tactical. And I always only use a primary weapon unless I'm sniping, and then I'll use a pistol. The first perk category is speed with ready up, sleight of hand, agility, marathon, and stalker. Ready up only costs 1 point and makes it so your weapon is ready faster after sprinting, allowing you to aim faster. And I personally love this perk. Since I love rushing around, if you run around a lot, this perk is great, and it only costs 1 point. And the thing is, the maps are so big in Ghosts that everyone is just going to run around and look for people. So if you're using ready up and you run into someone that isn't using it, you're going to win that gunfight. Sleight of hand costs 2 points to use and makes you reload faster. And unlike in Black Ops 2, sleight of hand is a perk in this game, and any gun you use with this perk will reload faster. And it's an okay perk in my opinion. I personally use extended mags as somewhat of an alternative, and I always reload cancel, so I don't really need to use this unless I earn it with specialist. Agility is lightweight. You move faster with this and it costs 2 points. It's an okay perk and you can use it to rush faster and make yourself a harder target to hit in a gunfight. And in Ghosts, if you're in a gunfight with someone and you miss 1 bullet, you're most likely going to lose that gunfight, unless of course the other person is missing too. Next up is Marathon, which is unlimited sprint and only costs 2 points. And this makes it a really good perk. I almost always use Marathon, and the maps are just way too big in Ghosts, so infinite sprint is definitely really nice to have. Use it together with Ready Up for a total of 3 points, and it'll make you overall faster. You should use a different perk if you're going for a chem strike. If not, then Marathon is generally a really good perk. The next category is handling with strong arm, on the go, reflex, steady aim, and quick draw. Strong arm costs 1 point and makes you throw equipment farther, decrease the cook time of grenades, and resets the fuse when throwing back grenades. And not many people use frags, and not many people use lethals, except for the few people that use IEDs. People use more perks instead, and you already throw grenades and equipment far, so this perk is pretty much useless. On the go perk costs 1 point and allows you to reload while sprinting, similar to Battlefield, and this actually isn't a good perk because you won't be able to reload cancel if you're using it, so it's kind of a waste of a point. Reflex costs 2 points and allows you to swap weapons faster and use equipment faster. Again, not really a good perk. If you're sniping and you have a pistol as a secondary, you can already pull out the pistol fast enough, so it's not worth those 2 points. It's definitely better than some of the perks, however there are perks in my opinion that are better. It is good on smaller maps like Tremor and Strike Zone where you're close to your enemy and you're more likely to use hipfire. The final perk in this category is Quick Draw, which is faster aim and costs 3 points. And this perk is extremely useful. You die really fast in Ghosts and you want to do everything you can to make sure you win those gunfights, and using Quick Draw for faster aim is the best way. I highly recommend using this perk if you aren't using it already. The next category is Stealth with Takedown, Blind Eye, Dead Silence, Incog, and Off the Grid. Takedown costs 1 point and makes it so there's no death indicator icon for people to see where your teammate was killed. And it is almost pointless unless you're going for a total stealthy setup. The maps are just way too big, so the skull mark showing where your teammate died isn't as important as it was in other games. It would have been great for small maps in Black Ops 2, but not in Ghost. The maps are just way too big, and it's going to be hard using the death indicator to your advantage. Blind Eye costs 2 points and makes you undetectable by air support, oracle systems, and sentry guns. It's an okay perk, but I still recommend having a class with it in case you run into a team that can put up a few choppers or if they're spamming oracles. Otherwise, you don't really need it. Next up is Dead Silence, which makes you move silently. Players with Amplify, the perk that makes your footsteps louder, can still hear you, but it's harder. And Dead Silence is still a pretty good perk in this game since footsteps are audible, and Amplify makes them really loud. Dead Silence only costs 2 points, and I definitely recommend having a class with it just in case, because you'll most likely run into people sound whoring with Amplify. Incog makes you invisible to the recon perk, thermal scope, tracker sight, which is the target finder, and the motion sensor. And you also have no name tag or red crosshairs when you're targeted, and this perk costs 3 points and is honestly not worth it, especially for 3 points. No one really uses recon or thermal scopes. Motion sensors are somewhat common, and few people do use a target finder, but for 3 points, this perk is not worth it. Unless, again, if you're going for a total stealthy setup with blind iron takedown and off the grid, which is the final perk in this category. Off the grid costs 3 points and makes you undetectable on the radar by satcoms and radar pings. Radar pings is the effect of the perk called ping, where if you kill an enemy, a ping is set off to reveal nearby enemies. And not many people use it, but that's probably going to change. But that's not the main reason you want to use it. Off the grid is essentially Assassin from Modern Warfare 3 and Ghost from Black Ops 2. However, I still recommend only having 1, maybe 2 classes with this perk, because in this game, 1 SATCOM doesn't give the radar sweep effect, only if there's 2 up. And it does really help if you're going for a chem strike. Next category is Awareness with Recon, Scavenger, Sitrep, Amplify, and Wire Trap. Recon costs 1 point and makes it so enemies hit with explosive damage can be seen through objects for a short time. Honestly, this isn't that good of a perk. It might only cost 1 point, but it's not worth it unless you have like a class specifically with a launcher or a grenade launcher on your gun and a lethal. Scavenger costs 2 points, nothing new, refills ammo from those blue packs that players drop when they die. Scavenger is definitely worth it if you're going for high streaks or a chem strike. But if you're the type of player that doesn't go on high streaks, then it is not needed unless you like to spray. Sitrep costs 2 points and highlights enemy explosive and equipment through walls. And it'll let you see the SATCOMs, IEDs, motion sensors, but it's honestly not worth the 2 points. And people usually put SATCOMs anywhere and everywhere. Next up is Amplify, which makes enemy footsteps louder and lets you hear dead silence players. And I love this perk. I couldn't really hear footsteps in Modern Warfare 3 or Black Ops 2, but in this game, footsteps are so clear. And I recommend this perk to everybody. Even if you don't use a headset, you should still be able to hear footsteps clearly from your TV. And it only costs 2 points, and it's so worth it. The last perk in Awareness is Wiretap. Wiretap costs 3 points and makes it so that all the enemy SATCOMs that are up work for your team. The enemy SATCOMs still work for the enemies, but they also work for you. And it makes stacking SATCOMs so much easier. If your team has 1 SATCOM up and the enemy team has 1 SATCOM up, you'll get the radar sweep effect since it counts as 2 SATCOMs. The next category is Resistance with Resilience, ICU, Focus, Tac Insert, and Blast Shield. Resilience costs 1 point and makes it so you take no fall damage. Honestly, this is a great perk since the maps have a lot of verticality and it only costs 1 point, so go ahead and use this perk. It's also useful to get away from enemies easier if you just jump off something, and it helps with getting around maps faster too. I just take a shortcut by falling down instead of going around. Easy. ICU costs 2 points and makes it so you regenerate health faster. Honestly, I don't notice much of a difference when using this, and it is not worth the 2 points. You might as well use one of the better perks such as Sleight of Hand or Agility. Focus is the next perk, and it is extremely useful. It only costs 2 points, and it reduces weapon sway and reduces flinch when you're getting shot at. And there is a lot of freaking view kick in this game, making it a valuable perk. And I highly recommend you guys use this. It's pretty much just as important as Quick Draw when it comes to winning gunfights, and it'll give you that big advantage you need over others not using it. Tac Resistant and Blast Shield both cost 2 points and make you more immune to tacticals and lethals. Neither of these perks are that good compared to Tactical Mask and Flak Jacket from Black Ops 2. Because most of the people don't use tacticals or lethals, they decide to take more perks. And it's good to have a class with both just in case you go up against a team that just happens to be using a lot of tacticals and lethals. And especially if you plan on going out for the objective. Next category is Equipment, with Extra Tactical, Extra Lethal, Fully Loaded, Extra Attachment, and Danger Close. Extra Tactical costs 1 point and Extra Lethal costs 2, and is exactly the name of the perk. You get 1 extra tactical or lethal. And these are hardly worth it because, again, there are better perks even if you're going for the objective. Fully Loaded costs 2 points and makes it so you start out with triple the ammo. Personally, I find Scavenger to be much better because if you pick up a weapon, you won't be able to get more ammo for it if you run out. Extra Attachment lets you have an extra attachment for both your primary and secondary weapon. I don't think it's worth the 3 points. Having an extra attachment on your pistol isn't going to help much. Danger Close costs 4 points and increases damage dealt by explosives. Again, it's pretty pointless unless you have a specific setup where you plan on trolling with launchers, and overall, this category is the most useless out of the 7 in my opinion. The last category is the elite category with Gambler, Hardline, Ping, Overkill, and Deadeye. Gambler costs 1 point and gives you a random perk. This can be a good perk and it only costs 1 point, but it can give you any perk. Hardline costs 2 points and it's a pretty good perk. Hardline makes it so streaks require 1 less kill to get, and every 2 assists count as a kill towards your streak. And this is especially useful if you're going for a chem strike, and it's really helpful for looping streaks. Like I said in my last video, best setup for most kills. Next up is Ping, which costs 2 points and activates a sonar ping upon killing an enemy, revealing nearby enemies. And this perk is alright, but it's much better on smaller maps like Strike Zone and Tremor. The ping radius is about the same as the motion sensor from Modern Warfare 3, but I don't really recommend this perk. Overkill costs 3 points and lets you have 2 primaries. It can be fun to use, I guess, but otherwise it's not worth it unless you want to use an assault rifle and a sniper, but you're better off just picking up another weapon. The final perk in this game is Deadeye, which costs 5 points. Consecutive kills increase the chance to deal more damage with bullet weapons. Basically, you'll notice a red hit marker effect when you're shooting enemies. That means the hit is dealing more damage. And this can make you win gunfights faster and make you win some gunfights that you would normally lose. And I only recommend this perk if you're going for a chem strike, otherwise the 5 points can be used on something else. Overall, the better perks in Ghosts are Ready Up, Sleight of Hand, Agility, Marathon, Stalker, Steady Aim, Quick Draw, Dead Silence, Off the Grid, Scavenger, Amplify, Wiretap, Resilience, Focus, Gambler, Hardline, and Deadeye. The okay or more situational perks are Reflex, Takedown, Blind Eye, Incog, Sitrep, ICU, Tac Resist, Blast Shield, Fully Loaded, and Ping. The not so good or not really worth it perks are Strong Arm, On the Go, Recon, Extra Tactical, Extra Lethal, Extra Attachment, Danger Close, and Overkill. Oh my god, can we get a thumbs up for my longest commentary ever? I hope this video was really informative to you guys, and I hope you guys enjoyed my gameplay. That's all for today. Don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe for more Ghost content. Thanks for watching. Bye guys.